Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 29 of a CAF update. I hope you guys tuned in last night and saw the Dueling Dealers of Comic Art. That was one of the most enjoyable hours I've spent on the internet in a long time. And judging by the responses I got after that show, I think a lot of people also enjoyed it as much as I did. It was it's definitely a coup to kind of get those guys to be on screen together. And we got to organize things a little bit better. That's for sure. We talked a lot after the show, and we talked a little bit today as well. And I think we've got a better plan for tomorrow. So it should be much better next Wednesday. And so speaking of my schedule, starting next week, well, Monday is actually CAF's birthday. We turn 18 years old. So I'm going to be doing a presentation with Brian Peck Monday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern again. And we're going to go over the best of 2020, the results from that, because the voting is over at midnight on Sunday. So we'll be doing a little review of the pieces that won by your votes, and then we'll toss one back as for the birthday party for CAF. And then on Tuesday, it's not a normal Comic Art Live night. I'm going to be doing a solo show, and I'll have Dino Mauricio and Wes Stefan on that show. It's going to be pretty fun. I'm going to be definitely outclassed with having those two gentlemen on the show. Dino has something really, really unique that you're going to want to tune in to see. It's I think every person who collects comic art is going to want one of these after he shows it off. It's very unique. I've never seen anything like it, and now I want one too. Let's see. Then on Wednesday, we'll have another Dueling Dealers episode with Mike and Anthony. And then on Thursday, I'll have another CAF update. And that one will be with two collectors, Kat Taka and Lisa McCarty. So that's going to be a very interesting show as well. And so it'll be structured just like this one. I'm trying to not work on Friday nights anymore, because if I'm going to be doing 3 or 4 nights consecutive, Friday nights need to be for me. So Monday through Thursday is going to be sort of the schedule I'm going to try to keep myself to. So there was a few questions that I had after last week when we presented the idea of the want list. And I'm actually not even really prepared to show it to you, but a lot of people were asking, where was it and how did they get in there to make an update to it? So I'm going to just go in here and just show you really quickly where it is. And I'm going to have to share my screen to do that. So just give me a second here. But I want everybody to know where it is, because, it's, again, CAF. No one will ever say that I write great instructions for anything, and giving good directions is always a problem. So let me pull the screen up here, and I will show you how to get to it. It is this one right here, and pulling it into the screen. All right. So it doesn't look like much, does it? It's actually, when you go underneath the Your Account menu, there is a link around the middle that says Your Comic Art Want List. And because I'm premium, it says, your current keywords, and I've got 10 of 20 assigned. So you just basically go in, click this, and fill in your keywords. It's as simple as that. Premium, any of the keywords that are in there, like you can see, I've got Cho, Cover, Hulk, John Byrne, right? Bill's watching from the green room. See, I got John Byrne in my list too. Marvel, Superman. You can pretty much put anything in there that you want to get a result from. And again, premium members get emailed within 5 minutes of any updates that occur. Non-premium people will get their email 4 hours later. And then any other service that's out there that might be crawling us for data that we allow gets it 8 hours later. So that's how it works. So anybody who's a member of CAF and that gets that works with me, like the dealers and then the CAF premium members, are definitely getting the benefit of going to CAF and using this as a service. And since I have the screen open, one other thing that it was funny, I saw on the Comic Art L chat the other day that a longtime member, George Hagenauer, exclaimed that he didn't know there was a dashboard. Now, there's a dashboard available for everybody. So, but they're, of course, two very different dashboards if you're a premium member or you're not premium member. And if you're a premium member, my dashboard loads a little slow because I have a lot of stuff in here. But it's just this icon right here, the little heart. If you click that, you can basically set the dashboard to be the default homepage. If you're tired of looking at CAF's homepage when you go to it because it's just too busy or whatever, you can go to this page and it's really just as busy, but there's a lot more information on it. We break it down by this, like this first section is just stats work from out of your gallery. What's the breakdown of covers to interior pages, and basically the type of art that you're collecting, and also by medium. And the cool thing with this is just so, as I go over these sections with you, they can all be hidden. So like if you don't care about your stats, you can turn that section off. But then it also kind of breaks down like the top views, top comments, top likes that are in your gallery. You can see the overall, your pieces have been seen 421,000 times. You've got 230 total comments, 100 total likes. So it gives you all the stats about your gallery. And so we provide that. You can kind of collapse these sections too. We kind of show, this is a section, I can't tell you how much hate I got when I took this section off the CAF homepage years ago. It was the most favorite thing that we had. Surprisingly, it was basically a quick view of things that were getting most viewed or most commented, and you could switch it up and pick like what art type you wanted to see was getting the most commented in the last 24 hours. Well, it is moved to your dashboard. Everybody can see it from there. So so there's that. Watched galleries, well, only premium members know about that because you can follow other collectors on CAF if you are a premium member. And if you see over here in this column, there is a watched gallery column and then the all column. People who aren't premium basically get a list of 10, and it's all premium members get 2 lists of 5. I need a drink of water, I think. But anyway, this section is so cool. Of course, Eric DLS has put a graphic in there that he shouldn't have done. But this section just shows you, based on all the galleries that you watch, what are the last pieces of artwork added in all of those. So like mine, it shows there's 77 results from the people whose galleries I follow. So I don't have to go in there and click on everybody's galleries that I watch. I can just come here and I can see there's a David Peterson artwork from Monty B, Will Gabrielle. He's selling something, a Detective Comics page. So I can rifle through pretty much everything that anybody whom I'm following on CAF to see what they've been posting. So again, a really great feature. And then also on top of that, we let you set up some keywords here too. So you can, if you've got some favorite things like John Byrne or whatnot, you can set up keywords. And this first section is just gallery artwork that anybody has posted to CAF that matches your keywords that have gone up in the last 7 days. And similarly, we show classifieds that match those keywords and even dealer results. So, Albert Moy just had that update today. So I've got a couple Batman pieces in there. And, it shows that there's 22 Batman results in the last 7 days. So dashboard is really helpful. And again, it's like everything on CAF, we just don't do the best job of telling you that all these cool things are there, but they are. And we even show, eBay. It's a recap of the news, because people who do replace the homepage with this page, I wanted them to be able to have all the most useful things that they'd want. And like I said, if you go over to here, is update your dashboard preferences, you can pretty much just turn on and off whatever you want. And then as you can see here, we let you pick 5 of the keywords that you have set up to display those items on that page. So, very, very useful. I would encourage everyone to give that a shot. And, again, it's my fault for not promoting it as often as I should. So before I get started on the CAF update today, I got a package in the mail, again, and, this is not normal. I know that, about a month ago, I had that piece of art sent to me by another collector. Well, I got an email the other day, someone wanting to FedEx me something, and I didn't know who it was. So first I didn't want to give them my address, and then they contacted me a different way. And then so I knew who it was, and I'm like, well, what is it? And they said that it's from Gary Frank, artist Gary Frank. He's in Italy, and he was appreciative of all the PR that we do for his Watchmen auctions, and I've never had any communication with him at all. So he just has seen that it's, we do our thing with eBay and promote everybody's auctions, but his auctions have done really well, and so he wanted to send me something. So I gave him my FedEx, of course. So I am going to cut into this thing. I asked first, can I actually go ahead and open this on the air? And I did get permission to do that. So, and again, honestly, this is the second thing I've ever gotten in the mail that is a gift, and they both have all happened here. I should have been doing these things online a long time ago, huh? Let's see. And I know that there's been some comments. I have not been able to see any of them since my hands have been tied. All right, so I've got, it's a lot of tape. I'm going to still need the knife. What have we got here? All right, so one thing is got a sketchbook, Gary Frank from 2013. And there is something else here taped to this piece of foam. That's awesome. Well, there you go. My second gift this year. Look at that. It's a little fuzzy because it's in the plastic. I'm not going to take it out. But Gary, thank you so much. It's definitely an honor to get something from you. And trust me, I'll keep promoting your auctions. I mean, they're selling really well, and I'm glad they are. You know, I mean, it's definitely well-deserved sales for you through eBay. So again, wow. I'm not encouraging gifts anywhere. Yeah, just so you guys know, they just happen. So now that that's out of the way, we can get on with okay, so I've got some questions before I go on. Jason asks, is there a way to see how many people follow your gallery? Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember where at the moment, though. There is a count. I believe it's probably on your. Let me check my dashboard but I don't think it's there. There is a spot on the site that tells you how many people follow you, and I can only tell you that the number one question I get from people is, can I tell who's following me? And the answer is no. But I always entertain the idea that someday I would show that. I don't think there's any reason why you wouldn't want people to know. And I'm sorry, I can't even find the darn thing. I think it was on the premium dashboard where we show that information. No, it's not there either. I'll have to figure that one out, Jason, and let you know. Oh, okay. Larry says it is in the dashboard. I must not be following. You got a unique art. Oh, yes. Larry, thank you. All right, I should show you again, and just to show it to you. All right, you can't really zoom in, but it does say your gallery has. Nope, I'm still looking in the wrong place. All right, I don't know. I know it's out there somewhere, and these spur of the moment questions are. You got me. It is out there, but the thing is, it does not tell you who is following you. So definitely, you know, when we originally wrote it, my first thought was, well, that should be a private thing, right? You don't want people to know that, you know, would Anthony want to know, want Mike Berkey to know that he's following his CAF Gallery? I mean, come on. You know, there's no way Anthony's going to want Mike to know that. But, you know, of course, Mike looks at it and says, wait, I got 100 people watching my gallery. I want to know what the heck, you know, is, who's following me. So I don't know. At the end of the day, with the way social media is, and we all get to have friends, and we know who's doing this, and I can see who follows my CAF page, I probably should make it so people can see it. I don't think anybody would really care. It's not like it's giving out any personal information. And really, it's kind of like making a friend group without even knowing you had one. Because how did you didn't know that you had all these people following your gallery. I am very disappointed in myself for not knowing off the bat where the heck that count is. So let's see, upper right on premium dashboard. Larry, you're really trying hard. I know you're telling me where am I. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, it is there, right there on the dashboard. It says your gallery is watched by 64 premium members. So I didn't even know I was that popular. So you can imagine what some other collectors' counts would be, because with over, I think we're around 850-ish premium members. Some guys could probably have 100, 200 people following their galleries. Anybody who makes regular updates, like Nick Barucci, those kind of people, you can guarantee that they're going to have a lot of people following their galleries. So Larry, thanks for being persistent and making me keep looking. Sorry, Alfredo, I will not be giving up that piece of art. So yes, again, and Larry, thank you so much for that. And and there is, since I'm going to give one more tidbit, because I was asked this today. Somebody asked, how when you're adding artwork or editing artwork, there's that whole section at the bottom of the art detail page with your kind of private, personal information that we can't see. Trust me, nobody can see it. But they said, is there any kind of reporting for that? If I collect it, what's it good for? And there is actually right up in here, it's the third link right now. It says gallery report. This gives kind of a breakdown of everything that's in your CAF gallery. And as you can see, like this particular column is kind of your private data. So anybody who's looking at this can see how much I got for something. I paid for some artwork, but purchase price, estimated value, that sort of thing. And we even say at the top, and trust me, there's a lot of test data in here and artwork I haven't removed. So it's showing like my total purchase price was just under 10,000, but my estimated value is 18 from X number of results. And you can go in there and you can actually change it to say, just show me my covers or just show me my interior pages. And let's see if I go into interior pages and it's going to refilter, so it changes what you've listed in your private data and what your estimated values are. And also, I bet you didn't know that we actually have this whole thing in this get estimate kind of thing. Like if this David Peterson mouse guard page, I've got this option to, and I put it right next to your estimated value. What we do is we do some special searches into the dealer market data and the auction market data we have. And this is available to anybody. You can't see the results of the data that make up what we come up with here. But what we do is because of the way the algorithm works, we have two sets of results. One that is work best for unpublished art, and one that works best for published. And it's a little convoluted, and it really took us a long time to kind of finesse it to get the price ranges where they should be. But so this is unpublished, and so as a published piece, and this is probably a little low, but it's got estimated value for my David Peterson piece at 621. I mean, it can't tell the characters on the page, but that's probably what they were fetching at least a couple of years ago. But it gives you a price range on things. So there's good ways to look at it. Like we have the best match set and usually good match set. So we're trying to the estimating gets a little fuzzier going one way or the other. So but that just gives you a way to look at your collection and then run your own value estimates based on the data that we have on file. Which is pretty deep. I mean, the data we have from comic art dealers is over 15 years old because I've been hosting dealer sites for almost as long as CAF's been online. And similar to that, the auction data, I have all of Heritage's data, so that's pretty deep. And then with eBay's kind of sketchy, but we have about 10 years of data there. So we look at that data and then try to give you best guess on a price range for your piece. And it's always going to be subjective, just like all art is. I mean, it's going to depend more on the characters on the page and everything. But we're taking things like your art type and, the title and the artist, and then kind of merging that together with the search to get those results out there. So there you go. Now I've talked way longer than I wanted to, and I left Bill in the green room longer than I wanted. Bill, I'm going to go really quick. I think I'm even going to skip a couple things because we don't really need to. A lot of the stuff is going to be online afterwards, but I do want to show the artwork that I featured. That I picked out. I picked out 14 pieces of art that were added last week, and these take some time, so they're worth showing. So let me just go right in here and load it up. So this first piece of art, of course, is from Mike Mignola. It's in the collection of Joshua Tan. This is Otter Jobs cover, and it's fantastic, of course. And next up is a piece from Dino Mauricio. And like I said, Dino's going to be on a show with me on Tuesday. This is Dave Gibbons, Watchmen number 6, page 21. And, of course, Rick Leonardi and Terry Austin. I mean, there is no better duo out there than these two guys on Cloak and Dagger. This is in the collection of Gene P. And speaking of Leonardi, this is him with Dan Green. This is from Spider-Man 2099. It's a variant cover. It's in the collection of Khalil Giron. Congratulations, Khalil. You keep getting a good one every week. This is in the collection of Paul P. It's Mike Waringo and Carl Kessel. It's the classic Image Fantastic Four 509 cover from 2004. And this is Sean Gordon Murphy, of course, in the collection of Edward N. This is Harley Quinn, issue 3. Next up is Daredevil 138 cover. This is in Sean Clark's collection. It is, of course, done by Gene Colan and Tom Palmer. And, Daredevil is kind of campy. This one's a good one. It's got Ghost Rider on it, too. And this piece, collection of Simon M. Simon, funny tidbit. I was holding this piece of artwork not 10 days ago. I passed up on it to get something else. I'm glad you got it. Frank Whiteley, All-Star Superman number 2. This is from the collection of Vale DG, Gene Colan and Dan Green. Again, Avengers 206, page 11 from 1981. 40 years old. Holy mackerel. This is Ghost Rider 29. I mean, who wouldn't want to own this page? Andy Kubert and Joe Kubert. It's got Wolverine and the Beast in the collection of Kareem El Rafe. And my new friend, Mikhail. Beautiful cover to X-Men 13, 2019 version. This is a variant, and it's by Mahmoud Asrar. Next up is this piece that's owned by Kent Mansley. It's by James Heron, of course. This is the cover to Thor number 3. Got 2 more, folks. This is, wish I had a better image for this one. The scan was a little bit small, but I love it. This is Ed Hanigan and Dick Giordano. This is a cover called Joker Wheel of Destruction in Vic V's collection. And finally, this is John Romita Jr. and Danny Mickey. This is in the collection of Michael Lovitz. You think he only collects Perez, but he collects John Romita Jr. as well. This is the cover, a variant cover to Nightwing number 49. And love that image. Can't go wrong with anything like that, right? So we'll just skip all the dealer and the auction house results. You can read those on the market reports that, of course, were posted on Monday and Tuesday. Now written by Colin Solon, because I'm so darn busy doing these live streams and a few other things that I've been working on. So without further ado, Bill's been patiently waiting. So let me bring in Bill Roberge. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am, busy. And I'll tell you, Thursday, when I'm able to finish everything on Thursday, it's like having a 3-day weekend. So tonight, it's always fun. This is like, after this, I can relax, I can have a beer, and then kind of cruise through the weekend. I finished my business taxes last weekend. So
haven't even looked at them.
Well, I can't, I get like stuck on things and I just have to get them done, or I can't get any work done whatsoever. So I appreciate you taking the time tonight. You've got a lot of art on the wall. That looks great.
Yeah. The little John Byrne piece there.
Yeah, that'll see. Yeah.
We'll be seeing that.
Yeah.
And let's see, John Romita Jr. and Alan Davis over there. Pretty much if you could see a 360, that's pretty much what the room looks like. And, lots of Galactuses, Galacti, I don't know. Those are all over the place.
Right. Well, I was kind of gathering, right, going through your gallery this morning and last evening that, there's a Galactus theme, and there's definitely a John Byrne theme here.
Those are it right there.
No, well, that's a great place to be as far as, Byrne was always like the biggest influence on me growing up. I mean, I was born in 68. So, when I was really getting into comics, it was late 70s, early 80s. And everybody loved John Byrne. I mean, he could do no wrong. I didn't care what he did. I'd buy it. I bought DC Comics when he moved over there. I mean, and I still don't like Superman. That's why I didn't.
I know. I'm a Marvel guy. And
Exactly. That's why, like, on that piece I mentioned of Simon, I looked at that Quietly piece and I'm like, it's Superman. I know it's better than the page I'm going to buy, but I can't buy it. I just don't want it. So.
Yeah, well, I've got you by a year. So I was born in 67, and it was always John Byrne and, close second, George Perez, Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
X-Men and Teen Titans. When I was growing up, that was it.
Right. No, same here. I bought Teen Titans as a book because Perez was drawing it, and so it was the only DC books that I've ever bought off a spinner rack would have been Teen Titans, or his Byrne's run on Superman. I didn't, not as much on Wonder Woman, but Superman definitely. That was it. Just I had to, especially when he's writing and drawing, right?
Definitely.
So we got to do the origin story. I mean, we already know what some of your early influences were, but what got you started collecting original art? What was the first thing that turned you on to being able to purchase your first piece of original art?
Well, almost with any collector, everything is a lot of luck or just happenstance. Started off with the comics, mid 70s, late 70s. And then when I went into the service and my collecting of comic books went down, And then in the early 2000s, I stumbled across CAF. I've been a member for 15 years and stumbled across CAF. And then I stumbled across Jim Warden's website, looking for John Byrne art, because when I was reading comics, when I was first reading comics, I was one of the ones that no concept that there was original art behind it. I'm envious of these guys that right off the bat, they said, there must be original art with these comic books. They started in the hobby a lot longer before I did. And, but when I finally figured it out and started looking around for John Byrne art, I also found out how much John Byrne art cost. My wife's probably watching this, so we're not going to get into the prices paid for any of this. Or, she's an excellent seamstress, and she'll probably want another sewing machine. So every time, there's a trade. But with Jim, I went on his website, and do you mind if I hold up a piece?
No, please do.
That's my first John Byrne page. It's a She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, sure. I know the page. Yeah.
And I love it because, you have the bus driver from The Simpsons up here. And then I think it's an 80s sitcom, Parker Lewis Can't Lose or something like that. And these guys down here are from that. And I loved how he just threw everything in there. And I always loved the She-Hulk series when he took over, the breaking of the fourth wall, everything like that. It was just, it was so funny and well drawn. So that was the first page. And then after I bought that page, Jim and I would just talk back and forth, because my next step is I wanted something drawn by John for me.
Right.
And of course, it had to be Galactus, and always my favorite character. And honestly, it was because of how John handled Galactus in the Fantastic Four. And so, we went back and forth, and I think my eyes were a little bigger than my wallet, so I started small. And
Jim's watching, by the way.
Hi, Jim. I only have nice things to say about Jim. He's Jim, Gary, Scott, and Mitch. We when we go to these comic art cons, now it's just to meet up with the guys twice a year. It's lately, because of 2020, we've been doing Zoom calls. So it started off as a way to get commissions in our pages, and now it's, you meet friends. You were talking about it earlier. It's a great way to start groups just because they like the same things.
Right.
So, so got the first commission from John. I honestly forgot what order I sent the pictures to you, but
yeah, well, I can guess. Can I guess?
That's the one.
All right.
So what I asked for was in the last Galactus story, the unfinished story. God, I wish that would be finished, but that was right at the end of the story where he, after battling the Watcher, he releases all the energy, and I asked for what that would look like. And I just remember, going through all these different ideas in my head, what it was going to look like, because I didn't tell him what to draw outside of that one moment after he released the energy. And he came back with that, and that guy knows how to fill a page. That's an 11 by 17, and it just fills the whole thing. And that's the only thing I can think of at the end of that story.
Right.
I'm looking at the comments. Brian Peck is asking me how many Last Galactus page stories I have.
Yes.
Two. Those are my Grail pages. Whenever I come across those, if I somehow can get them, those are the ones I'm looking for. So, but yeah, that's my first commission done by John, and Jim helped me through it. You know, my first commission, and I think we've done 6 or 7 together over the years. So
Wow.
but, yeah, I'm lucking out because John likes Galactus also. So, you know, drawing what you like, that helps.
Exactly. No, it's always good to have the artist be interested in what your commission is going to be. That's a definite bonus. So yeah, and John Popa actually mentions that he's happy to put a face to the team I ousted from the JVF fantasy football playoffs last year. We had John on last week.
What's that?
We had John Popa was on with me last Thursday.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
And yeah, we play fantasy football together. So
very good, very good.
So
yeah, okay, so you know, after you've met Jim and we've plugged Jim, DOA sales, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah. At whatashock.com/DOA sales, I think is the address. Make sure I get that right.
Yeah.
Yep. So
thank you.
Yeah. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm just doing that from memory. Because I have never worked on Jim's site, but one day I think I will help Jim get a better facelift on that.
In my view, he is the best dealer out there. So, you know,
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? When we had Jim on, Jim has been one of the most viewed chats we've ever had. Probably like right after the one I did with Albert Moy. I mean, he, as far as
I noticed that.
Yeah.
1.2, you know, 1.2 or something like that. So,
or yeah, when you add them between YouTube and Facebook, it's like 1.8 to 2,000 views. So it's it's you know, who would have known that Jim was like this international man of mystery and everybody wanted to know about him. But it's true, you know, there's just some people I had never really I had talked to Jim on the phone a few times, but I had never met him. And so when we did our did the chat, that was really the first time I met him, and I've been in the hobby over 20 years too. So there's got to be a lot of people that wanted to meet Jim.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's great guy. And it's, you know, again, last year, unfortunately, because of COVID, we weren't able to do our, you know, 2 times a year trip. But you know, vaccines out there, hopefully soon. Exactly.
I mean, I think Comic Art Con is going to try to do something next month. They haven't really sent out a mailing yet. I don't know what weekend it's supposed to be, maybe the second weekend, but I can't see, you know, I mean, they did it once before, but they had like 4 or 5 dealers. So I don't foresee the show getting big again until probably the fall. I mean, I think that'd be when the next one would be, September or something. So,
yeah,
you know, I mean, I wouldn't make the trip yet. So.
Honestly, for 10 years, I think it's been 10 years that I've been meeting him there for, you know, twice a year. And last year was the first one that we didn't go to either one. And that I really don't think I'm going to go to the one in March. Just, you know, give that vaccine a little extra time to roll out.
I completely agree. I definitely agree with that. So, I mean, after collecting the pieces that you've gotten from John, well, you know what we should just do is we should just pull up a couple of the pieces from the list. Why not, right? We can talk about some of those pieces because I know there are a few other Byrne pieces in there. In fact, there's one that I'm going to show right now that is actually behind you on the wall.
So that is the wraparound cover to What The, and I actually got this one from Jim. I don't hope I'm not telling tales, but I think this was in his private, and I got that from Jim, and it had Galactus in it, and I love how John does cartoony art. He did what was it, True Brit, and you know, and his run on What The. And I just love how he does cartoony stuff. And so this one just jumped at me. And I, you know, got we have Galactus, Nova, and I just, when I see art, when I see comic art, yeah, of course I want those Grail pages from X-Men and, you know, George Perez Teen Titans, but I also like if there's, you know, writing on the side, or, you know, if it's, you know, with this one, it's the Galactus. Galactus, if he's on the page, I'll always be interested in it. But, you know, and John's sense of humor when he does these magazines, comics, I think I wish he had done more, you know, of the, you know, She-Hulk when she's talking to the audience, you know, all of his What The stories, and even True Brit. True Brit was hilarious, and you know, the art, the way he does it, you still get the characters, but they've got a twist to them. So,
well, it just shows you that, you know, he's not always taking everything too seriously when he was doing those things. You know, there was always a different side to the characters that he could see, you know, to make them a little more human or a little more fun than some of the serious stories that they were always getting put into.
Yep. So, what did we have next?
Well, it's another one, drawing himself,
and that's an kind of another thing that I've been looking for in some of the art. I got this one off of Mike Berkey, and it's the last page of the Reed Richards trial, and you know, he's on it. He doesn't do self-portraits, I guess, or he doesn't draw himself into books anymore. So finding him out there, if I can jump on a page, I will. You know, and again, these pages, they don't show up in the scans, but like in the top right-hand corner, this guy has a Grateful Dead shirt on, and you know, he had to correct it 2 or 3 times. I don't know if it was because of the inking or something, but I love seeing that kind of stuff on the original art. I was talking to someone about a Jack Kirby page. Honestly, I think it was John Byrne that has this page, and there was a coffee stain on it, where it looks like he put a coffee mug down on it. And I love that stuff. I love, you know, that it's not the, you know, stuff that is it's obviously mass produced, but this is the original. This is one that all the work went into. You know, there are pages that how they do a star field by using a razor blade.
Right.
You know, they'll do an ink cover and then they'll scratch out. I have a couple pages like that. I have a page where it's a splash page to a Superman annual, where I have the whole book of the annual, and it's the one where Clark Kent, he's back in the 1700s, or, you know, 1776, right around the Revolutionary War. It's in Elsewhere.
Okay.
And the splash page, Krypton blew up and a spaceship is coming out. And I asked him how he did it, and he goes, "I think I rolled up some toilet paper and went like this," you know. I just love that kind of background stuff to the pages, and the more and more I find stuff like that, if you don't mind, I'm going to hold up one more page.
No, please do. Like, go full screen. So
this page is from Superman, and it's a Clark Kent page talking, but I don't know if it comes up. There's all these notes along the side, and he's actually calling to basically get an interview with Wonder Woman. And this is when, everything was getting rebooted, new Wonder Woman, new Superman. And so this is all him asking someone if he could get a interview with Wonder Woman. And it ended up saying, no, you can't. But all the balloons are covered with paste-on words where it covers up the original, where he actually does get the interview. And I remember asking what happened, and it somewhere in the background, and the editor said, no, they don't want them meeting up yet, or something like that. So it changed the whole page.
Right.
The art stayed the same, but it changed the whole thing where, afterwards he got the interview, but the printed page, he didn't. So, it's that kind of stuff that, that just, when I see a page like that, I don't see a coffee mug stain. I see history.
Exactly. Gary asks if Byrne was the inker on that page.
I don't know. I think so. I think he was doing his inking on Superman. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'd have to look at what I have on the on CAF.
There you go. Yeah, that's always my go-to as well for trying to figure something out. It's either that or I hit the comics.org database when I'm really confused.
Yeah, but the things they can do with these pages back in the day, where it's I get a lot of people do the computer drawing now,
right?
And I love their art, but I just love having that page in my hand,
Oh yeah, no, I know. It's I don't know. I mean, it's tough because a lot of the younger generation are just growing up on. My kids, they're 16 and 18 and 22, and they do have sketchbooks, but they're just so used to drawing tablets and and doing everything digitally that it's tough to say where things are going to be. But I mean, I think most savvy artists, if they know they want to have a good career and a good market, that they're going to keep making originals, even if some more other work might be done digitally after things. They'll still be a traditional piece. I publish an art book called Infected by Art every year, and it's an art contest. And a lot of the traditional painters do touch up their work for print digitally. Like they might finesse a color that they didn't get quite right, or add some little effect that that it's still a watercolor piece, but when the piece that they give me to print has been touched up, just because that's part of their process now. They start traditional, and then it ends up having a little bit of things done after the fact. So I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a happy medium somewhere, but I'd like to think most people will stick to doing things traditionally.
Yeah, I hope so, because like I said, I just love having that page in my hand and seeing, it was on their table. It was, it was on their table being created. So.
Right. When we did that interview with Jim, that he had a couple really nice shots of John working, at his drafting table, and that was really cool to see. I mean, I've seen pictures of him before, but it was nice seeing like the piece that Jim was showing us, that Savage Land piece, and there's John actually working at it, slaving away on it. So that was really neat to see.
Yeah, it was funny. I was able to get a small little video. Jim again, he for my 50th birthday, I got a Galactus piece. And he's standing on a big 50, and there's a birthday cake and everything. And I got to film, actually Gary helped me a lot with it. Him kind of finishing it up, and how he did the star fields, and it's just, you hear it a lot, that if I could go back and tell my 10-year-old self that I was gonna be in John Byrne's studio watching him doing a piece of art for me, I think he'd think I was a senile old man or something like that. But but it's just, you have to pinch yourself every once in a while.
Oh yeah. No. Well, you've been pretty fortunate, to be where you are in the country, close enough that you can actually have, and knowing Jim, to be able to get over to John's studio. I mean, that's pretty great.
It's just a lot of luck, and again, you got to pinch yourself sometimes.
Well, why don't we? I've got a few more pieces. There's some more Byrnes in here.
So this is one of the pages from the last Galactus story. There's a page from Nova where it's a full shot page of Nova, and she's on Earth. This is Earth millions or billions of years in the future, and she's just about to meet this robot called Shakespeare. And this is one of the two pages that and it's funny. This page I saw on eBay years and years ago, and there's two signatures on it, one by Terry Austin and one by John Byrne, and it's it says to Earl best Terry Austin, and then to Earl second best John Byrne. And whoever Earl is, I thank them for letting this go. I think it had traveled a couple hands since Earl owned it. But it's, again, the last Galactus story for me is, it's every page is a Grail page for me. Mm-hmm. And this particular one, Terry Austin inked. There's Bob Wycheck actually did a few pages in the story. Terry wasn't able to do the whole story, 60 pages. And I have another page that, Earl did sell it to me. I just saw her in the comments. Well, yeah. Thank you, Earl. I appreciate it. It's on my wall, and I smile at it every time. So thank you, Earl. See, I didn't know I got it from Earl.
Well, that's why these chats are great. And I'll tell you, the reason I highlighted that one image with the landscape and whatnot is because when I was 12 and 13 and wanting to draw comics myself, I literally learned how to draw landscapes from John Byrne. And like the Savage Land issue of issues with from the X-Men. He drew mountains in a way that I could look at and feel it. Nobody drew like knotty roots like he did, and and the rocks. I mean, everything just looked so lush and so real. And he put so much attention to detail in the little things around the characters at times, just like Perez, that it just made you stop and look. And I could show you a dozen drawings that my mom has framed around the house from that period of time. And it's all, if I look at it now, I'm like, yep, that was John Byrne, because that was my reference.
It's incredible how he can do that. So I can't draw a straight line. I am so jealous of the people who can create this. So when I see a page like that, it's again, it's the page before the big splashy page, but I wouldn't give this page up,
Right.
And now I know Earl, so it makes it even better.
There you go. That's great. I'm glad we made that connection on that one too.
Yeah,
but that is a beautiful page. I mean, I always appreciated that kind of detail that he put into the work, and I never really, you see different things. Some guys draw great cityscapes and everything. I just thought Byrne was phenomenal, just drawing the landscapes work that he put into into those pieces.
You're not going to say anything that I like that I'm not going to agree with. I'm a John Byrne guy, so.
Well, here's it. Hey. You got another one with him.
So this one I actually picked up last year. And I think I got it through your site. I think somebody offered it up through your site. And it's comedic. It's something that I remember when I was reading the book. I got to the end of this particular West Coast Avengers, and I read this, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what he was talking about because I wasn't reading the summer crossover at the time. So I had to go track it down and see what this page was talking about. And it's a self-portrait. I think it's funny. He's wearing a plaid shirt in both the pages that I have him in. So
we should go back and look at all the pictures that everybody's taken of him just to see if he's always wearing a plaid shirt.
I'm looking over on the wall now where I have them, and they're both in. I'm picturing a red plaid shirt. So, but I thought it was funny, and it was, I don't know who came up with this thought of how they're going to explain why Tigra was in the wrong book, but
yeah, I was reading it too, and I don't believe I was reading the stories that they came from, so I wasn't quite sure of the joke as well.
Yeah, so I had to go back and read it, and now I finally get it. So,
and hey, I have to put this out there because my family, and my children keep giving me grief about it. But here's that Mika is actually my daughter. He says, if you like the stream, don't forget to subscribe to the Comic Art Live YouTube channel. It's something I never tell anybody. I did tell people in today's email. It's like, to subscribe because we're trying to get to 1,000. That's our goal. I think we're probably around like 845 now. But that's why
on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. It's free to subscribe. It's just it's nice because YouTube, when you hit 1,000, they kind of give you more marketing tools and stuff. And so that's our goal is to get there. But my family keeps going, you never tell anybody. They're like, you're supposed to lead off your show and say, hey, if you're having a good time, you like what we're doing, subscribe to or it's over here, subscribe to the channel. I never
smash that smash that like button.
Exactly. I have always been terrible at marketing. No one will ever say that I'm good at writing instructions or that I'm good at marketing because I'm not good at either. But
I'll have to get my wife and my 2 girls to subscribe.
There you go. Hey, everybody! If everybody watching got their spouse and at least 1 or 2 of their children to do this, we'd be there by tomorrow. It's like, and then I can breathe a sigh of relief because it's just that's the milestone. You get there, and then they treat you differently over YouTube. And I just like YouTube better than Facebook because organizationally it's much better. You can't really do anything on Facebook to kind of like categorize and group things, and YouTube just lets me group the chat. The chat I do with the dealers separate from the ones that I'm doing here versus the spotlight ones.
That's how I watch you every week. It's on YouTube.
And they're analytic. The things you can't see, like that I can see, is like they give you so much more data behind the scenes, like when people are dropping out, so you kind of know like what parts of the shows are good and what parts of the shows are bad, when you should just cut that thing off and not keep going. Yeah. So I definitely like YouTube a lot better than Facebook.
That point will be if I keep on stuttering more and more. So, but Gary just brought up something that, again, pinching yourself. So if I wish I had a picture I could bring down right now. If you ever see John at his drawing board, he's in a bomber chair. It's a chair from a bomber. And the first time I was able to visit him, I got to sit in it, and the thing was squeaky as all get out, and it had you were like this in it because the bottom of it had the person who put the chair onto kind of like a regular office chair rollers did it with these screws, and it broke. And I was over there, and he actually had moved it from his desk because it just broke so much he couldn't sit in it anymore. And I said, hey, do you want me to? Yeah, that's the bomb. Thank you. That's the bomber chair. And, I asked him where it was, and he's like, yeah, I can't use it anymore. It's broke. So I brought it home, and I have a workshop downstairs, and I milled up a couple plates and some fittings, and I wish, on the right hand arm of that, there's a switch that didn't, back in the day it did something, but it was a dead switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I wired up a sound card to it, and every time he flicks it now, it's the start of Star Trek.
Perfect for him. That's great.
Yeah. So that was fun. For 6 months I had his chair in my house working on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's a fun little side thing.
No, that's, how often would you get a chance like that to do something for who you admire, that you can actually fix the spot where they're drawing their artwork. So, I mean, that's a story.
Yeah. He's drawing X-Men now using the chair.
Exactly. And, I still haven't gotten to read his else, that the stories at all. I'm really disappointed. But I've just been too busy. I know I told Jim back when, I'm like, I can't wait to read it, and I haven't gotten to read anything.
Yeah,
yet.
You got to. The art is incredible. And it's all pencil.
I know. It's criminal that it hasn't worked its way into being published. Because hopefully we can keep our fingers crossed. Maybe we'll see something.
I get that published. Get the last Galactus story finished. One or the other. So.
Well, here, let's. I know we've got a couple more Byrnes here, but there are other artworks here too. There are more representation here.
So, again, with the luck, this is a page he did when he was in his teens, and the guy's been drawing forever, and this I pulled this one. I have about 30 of these, and it's just from pages that he did as a teenager. And this one, if you take a look at it's Danger Unlimited. This is kind of the first he did a book of Danger Unlimited for I believe it was Dark Horse.
Okay.
And he had the idea kicking around in his head since early teens. There's a spaceship that he drew called the Time Breaker, and that was part of the Danger Unlimited crew. And this one just blew me away because of all the shading, and it's a sketch. It's a doodle that he did for himself. And I just thought that was just incredible. The alien and the stippling, I guess it's called. That's what got me with this particular piece. But yeah, and so a few years back on eBay, there was a gentleman that was selling 4 colored pieces of art that John had done back in his college days. And they were oversized pieces, 4 pages, and they were done with magic marker. Mm-hmm. And the comic strip was called Gay Guy and Hard Hat and Gay Guy. And
I think I remember those on there. Yeah.
And he actually did a strip for the college newspaper. It's Emory Wheel or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he did all these, this is back in his college days. This is Death's Head Night. And he did it for the school paper. And this one was back in 1971. So 50 years old.
Wow. And
so these 4 pages were for sale on the website relatively cheap, and nobody was bidding on it. No, I don't know if it's because they didn't know it was, really him doing it, or if it was a knockoff or whatever. And so he had a minimum up there. I put the minimum up there, and I got it nobody else bid on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got it, and it was him, and I posted it on John's site, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I did that back in college. I'm surprised they still exist in existence." And so I got in touch with the seller, and we just started talking. And it turns out that his family was friends with John's family when they were up in Canada. And I said, "Well, that's great." And somehow they got some of the art, and I'm not sure how that happened, but he's like, "I can send you a whole bunch more. I've got these stacks of that's how big they are."
Oh, that's funny. Actually, we have that image, don't we?
Yep. And yeah, that's just an 8x10 sketch. And again, this is back when he was a teenager, and the majority of these things are straight to pen. You can't see any pencil on them. So this guy was doing this art straight from his head, straight to the paper. No erasers, because he was doing it all with pen. So, again, being envious of somebody who has that much talent that early.
Right. This is a story that happened. It was like 6 months ago. This is a Frank Miller story. So, guys, kind of in the same generational kind of thing. I was contacted by someone who, I think it was New Hampshire, who worked at a library, and Frank Miller, when he was 16 to 18, had done these drawings for these covers to some library monthly periodical thing that they had done. And and I said, well, he's looking to sell them. How do I get the most money out of him? I get these emails all the time. I wish I had money to buy everything that I get. But so they had like 7 or 8 of these, and most of them were really boring. But one of them actually had Batman on it. Like there was a TV and there was Batman drawn on it. So it's probably like one of Frank's first Batman drawings. And I ended up getting, I got into a dealer who actually then got them to Frank. Somehow, he sold them to somebody who then just gave them to Frank as a gift, because they were they were so, obscure, but they had Frank's, kind of classic looking signature on them too and everything. So you knew they were legit. But and then the money went to the library, because I think the guy still worked there. So it was a way to raise some money, for the library.
I'm from New Hampshire. I should track that down.
Yeah, there you go. I could dig up those old emails, and I could at least send you the images, because it was surprising. They were like, well, it's, they're not really worth a lot, but to get them back to Frank, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've brought some of these down on one of my trips, and his signature, John's signature, has evolved. So, like you said, the classic Frank Miller there's, I think there's like 20 as he's evolved as an artist. John's signature has evolved, and I'm probably going to kill the camera on this, but I mean, apparently that's his signature when he was a teenager for his art.
Yeah, very rune-like.
Yeah. So, and when I brought him some of this art, the 4-page one he did in college, he actually signed it like he did back then. So
well, it's authentic now.
Yeah, it is. But it's just stuff like that you stumble into, and it's because of Jim or Gary or everybody you meet that just it opens up these doors.
Right. And with eBay though, you just never know what you're going to find on there, and a lot of times you never know what you can trust. That that could have been why other people didn't bid on that, was they just weren't sure, right?
Yeah,
could be some other John Byrne kid, that they think it might be, right? you just never know. Because if I were to look at that, I would not have said John Byrne initially. You know, just by looking at it, it doesn't look like his style, but it makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, we're going to get to a page where you're going to look at it and go, yeah, that is not John Byrne, but it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want what?
Yeah, no, I'll pull up that.
So this is one of the pages from the strip, the 4 pages I got off of eBay, and it's magic marker, and these are pretty big pages. They're I want to say 15 by 20 or something like that. But the reason I sent this page is this character in red is Charisma. And he used that in the Fantastic Four. He, I forgot what number Fantastic Four it was, but he used that character in, she took over the Thing, and he had to fight the Invisible Woman. So he used a character that he got from back in college day, and he actually, gay guy, the character here, his real name is LaFleur or something like that, and he was in a Fantastic Four comic that he did. So, you know, it's kind of fun to see the history of it.
Sure. So,
you know, and this is a 4-page comic. This is the last page of a 4-page comic he did for school, and this is the one that he signed for me in his old signature way.
That's great. That is great. And the markers are still, they're not faded at all.
They're not faded one bit.
Wow.
And they came to me in a tube, and they must have been in the tube for, 30, 40 years. So
well, that's good.
I lucked out with that one.
Definitely did. So, well, yeah. Now we're going to go for a change of pace with this next one.
So this is a Jack Kirby page, but it actually still has John Byrne links. This is from Superpowers number 6, and it's all pencil. And this actually comes from, this is the last professional book he did. I was reading it in they have a Jack Kirby checklist, and this is the last comic book he did. And the John Byrne connection is he actually owned all of the original art to this whole comic. And a few years back, through Jim, again, thank you, Jim. I bought this one and another page, and it's again one of those stories where, hey, I have a Jack Kirby page that I bought off of John Byrne. And you've got Superman, you've got Wonder Woman, you've got the Kirby Crackle, you've got on the back of Dr. Fate's helmet there, Jack Kirby, he did these squiggly lines that he did it on people's arms, but usually on metal and everything. And to me, that's Kirby art. That's where you go to his very beginnings and you'll see the squiggle.
Oh yeah.
Where that's how he does shadow, or that's how he does how a muscle looks or something like that. It's incredible to pick. And he's doing Superman, which he's not really known for.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Batman. I think that's Calabac down in the corner that he's fighting. But you got the whole crew there: Aquaman, Green Arrow, Robin in the front, And it's just that is kind of one of the centerpieces that I have on my walls in my man cave here.
That's a beautiful page. I mean, I have never owned a piece by Kirby, but I mean, that would be a great one to have, honestly.
Yeah.
And again, not being a DC guy, I'd still love to have that page.
Yeah, exactly. You know, again, would I love to have one of his Fantastic Four pages? Of course, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sniff at this one. So
no, for me, it'd be like a Thor page. I'd be really happy if I could get something from Thor by Kirby, but I don't.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw some recent pages where Thor isn't even on it, and you know they're $6,000. So it's like, well, I mean, I could say I owned a Thor page, but there wouldn't be any Thor.
Well, you owned a Kirby page.
Yes, exactly. That's how I've tried to look at it too. But I've been looking, I'm trying to expand. I've seen a few interesting Kirby pieces that aren't really, they wouldn't have been published, or the other character sketches. I mean, at the end of the day, that might be all I'm going to be able to afford. It just because I can't see spending $6,000 or something that I'm not going to.
Again, let's not talk prices while
watching. That's right. You'll have to buy 2 sewing machines.
Yeah. But it's when I started, I was going to get John Byrne pages and Galactus. That's it. That's all I was going to do. But that George Perez page looked really nice, and that John Romita Jr. page looks really nice. And then all of a sudden, you've had guests on that talk about the group that does all the con sketches.
Yeah.
And they have, focus points, and I swear that's how I started out. And then it just kind of, branched out.
Oh yeah, no. Collecting art is an addiction for lots of different reasons. I love the fact, that there's, like you said, there's people who do it because they like to interact with the artists and get sketches. Other people that, you just get hooked on published pages. You just want to buy everything you can. Just anything, if you've read it and you liked it, you want to own a page from it. And, I kind of went through all those stages myself when I started collecting. I interacted with artists at the shows, got a lot of convention sketches, did some commissions, got hooked on buying published pages. But, just didn't really matter what, as long as it was from something I had read, that was more current. So I wasn't spending a lot of money. Back around 99 or 98, buying if it was $100, I was just happy to, okay, I'll take that. Ian Churchill X-Men page or whatever, just because, it was great to have just grabbed something and owned it that I had just read the month before. But yeah, you definitely, lots of people have different reasons for collecting. And
oh yeah. And, we should call it like the 10 steps of comic collecting or something. My wife just posted so close to a new sewing machine.
Oh, that's
so.
All right. Well, yeah. Or at least, you got to at least redo the sewing room,
Yeah. Well, we're planning that. We're planning that. So.
Yeah. So my friend Jason says it could be 3 sewing machines at this point. So.
Well, wait till you get to the Galactus commission.
Exactly. So let's we've got a few more pieces here that we picked out.
So this is the one that I was talking about where, if this was posted and no names attached to it, I would have never guessed it was John Byrne. This is from Giant Size Dracula, and this is his first published Marvel story. And what happened is he was doing, I hope I get this right, he was doing work at Charlton, doing, Doomsday +1, that type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he had this already drawn out, and it was, at someone's Marvel's, in Marvel's flat files, and it was used as a filler or something like that. So this came out after he was doing Doomsday +1, but it was actually his first Marvel professional job.
Wow.
So yeah, This one I bought from John. Down in his studio, he has flat files. And I remember going through it and going, "Hey, who's this artist?" And it was either Gary or some another friend that was down there said, I think that's John's. So yeah, that's from his first published Marvel story. And
Wow.
the inkers seem to be a little heavy-handed, but again, for me, it's the piece of history.
Mm-hmm.
I love being able to see stuff from when he was a teenager, when he was in college, his pro work, and then going all the way up to Elsewhere comics.
Mm-hmm.
I just love watching his art style change. So
that horizontal panel in the middle is like the only panel where I look at it and I think, there's something in there. All the other panels are more, nothing really strikes me as, at least, I wouldn't say John's style, but just something isn't right. But something about that horizontal panel is like, yeah, that's John right there.
Yeah, there's another guy who owns 1 or 2 pages from this story. He actually beat me out on bidding on one of them, and it's a close up of this character, and that one really looked like Byrne art, but that was pretty much it. Then there was this page that had some sort of psychedelic thing going on, and it reminded me of when he was doing Iron Fist. So there was some psychedelic stuff going on there, and it looked very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I just love the whole history line of it. So, Gary and I joke around sometimes that I'll do a history book on John Byrne. So,
you should. I mean, that's for me, that's one of my favorite periods. I like the Iron Fist period for John. I like, say, the first 10 issues of Uncanny more than I like towards the end. I mean, where it was more polished, but I really, I like the way the supple quality of his art around 111, 112, 113 in that range. There's just something really, for me, that nostalgic and special. And I don't know what I can't put my finger on it, but I like that period of his work more than any other, even though I love them all, but that's the one when I see it, I'd love to get something from.
And it's hard to say, is it the nostalgia that you're reacting to, or is it, that's just the style you like?
Right.
And there are points in time of John's work that I definitely like better than others. And it's, I just like how he tweaks something, or, there's stuff that he's doing with Elsewhere now that it blows me away. And then right around that X-Men 13, 14, 15, that timeline, but that's when I started with it.
Right. Yeah. And me too. And, in a weird way, it almost might be the printing wasn't as good. So maybe the lines weren't as tight as they could have been. Like maybe, when you get to like the Wendigo book, everything's super detailed and, and everything. And it's very different from, like again, the Savage Land issue or with the Magneto issue, those ones where the printing was a little softer. It wasn't as course, but I look back at those and I'm like, wow, that is just some of the most beautiful. It's still to this day is my favorite, John Byrne period, and of really any artist. I love that, and I love early Cockrum artwork. And when I was going through your gallery, one of my favorite pieces was the Cockrum piece that you had.
You mean that one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
I love it.
I know. I actually had. Well, I'll share the screen because I had that thing open because I was like, that's one of the. I was like, I didn't see how many you had because we stopped doing like a count beside artist names, that when they're in your gallery. It just got over unwieldy when people have 1,000 pages in there, and I had to count them all every time I wanted to show it. But I saw, I'm like, oh, Dave, I wonder how many pieces. He's probably got some good X-Men, stuff. And then I'm like, oh, this is even better. When I saw this, I love that piece.
Yeah, and they made their debut in, I think it was 156.
It says 157 on them, actually.
157. Okay, yeah. And I was with Jim at the Comic Art Con, and I was just flipping through, and it's one of those things. I buy what I like, and I just thought these were so cool.
Oh yeah, no, I am so envious of this. I love all of Cockram's work, but this is I remembered seeing this a while back, and then just seeing it again made me so happy. So
yeah, it's just one of those things where I can't tell you why I like it. It's just
you don't need a reason. You don't need a reason.
Yeah, I couldn't find one. I just love the thing.
Well, see there now. I should have gone to that Comic Art Con. Now I know why. I've only been to. I think I've been to 2. It is like an 8-hour drive from where I live in Ohio, so I could make it. And Berkey's gone there a few times. So whenever he's gone, because he's about yeah. And I haven't gone every time he's gone, but he's about an hour from here. So whenever he offers, hey, if you help me drive out there, you're more than welcome to come. He usually does, but he doesn't go. What the problem is? He's a big football fan, and it's always on a Sunday. So that nixes one show of the a couple of years. So
they did it on Saturdays for a while, and I love that because then I can just either stay over and I don't have to worry about work the next day. And but because then at the end of the show, you're hoping the Giants aren't playing or the Jets aren't playing.
Exactly.
And you're trying to time it to get out at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can ever I just like going there. You see Will there.
Oh, yeah.
And I know him from your shows, and I know him from just saying hi to him 2 times a year. But it's just nice. You go in there and you're just flipping through all this stuff, and the pages of art that are there, it's just incredible.
No, I agree. It's a fantastic show. I mean, it's a great idea to put it there, in that area. And I'll do my best when once COVID is passed, I'll definitely get Berkey to go out there again, and because it's fun. I love chatting with all these guys online, but there's nothing beats being in front of everybody and hanging out and actually looking at the art and buying a few pieces. But yeah, I've hung around with like Will, Mike, and Glenn forever, and that's how I knew they'd be really great together on that show, just because they're always next to each other at New York Comic Con. So yeah, they're a good group of guys, and Will is like one of the most knowledgeable people in the hobby. When I first started collecting, and I got on the Comic Art L, he was the first person I think I emailed, out of the blue, but he just seemed to know a lot, from whatever he was saying on there. And I remember asking him a question about Miller, like when did Miller stop, being doing a lot of pencil work on those Daredevils? Because, you seem to know a lot about that. Yeah. And he was like, this issue to that issue is where he was doing this, and this issue to that issue is he's doing less. And then here's where he's just writing the book, and it's Claus doing everything. I was like, damn, this guy's smart, and I was probably a year into the hobby. So, but that showed me a lot, it showed me the passion and the depth to which people can really be immersed in the hobby, where they literally are an encyclopedia of that information. Because if you're a comic book reader, you wouldn't know it. You would have thought Frank Miller was always responsible for at least the layouts in those books. And
that's how I started, that you didn't know this stuff existed, or I didn't, and then getting to learn from it from guys like Jim, like Will, is just, it's incredible. And there's no stigma to it anymore. There's no geek is chic now, I guess. So
yeah, who would have guessed?
I know.
all that bullying I went through in high school. Look at me now.
You're about to hit 1,000. You're about to hit 1,000.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. You should. I remember when I was in like 6th grade. I've always wanted, I've always had this business mindset, mind about me. I've always wanted to do something. I don't know. It just seems like everything turns into that. But when I was in 6th grade, I actually got sent to the principal's office because I was selling comic books, and making money. Me and this other kid were competing with, and we're selling them to the kids. But so we're getting all their lunch money. And I think probably some parents complained, like, these two boys are selling comics in class, and and my kids are going hungry. So yeah, we got, we didn't have to give any of the money back, but our comic book empire was over really quickly.
Hey, entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a couple more pieces to look at. So.
I kind of digging these out to send to you was a job in itself, just whittling it down. I think you said like do 10 to 12, and I think I sent you 14 or something like that. This one is from his Charlton days. This is from Doomsday +1. And this is the first Charlton work that I bought. And again, it's just the notes on the side where he's telling the colorist that the robot's gold, and this has that I hope I got this right, the duo shade. It looks like, I don't know if it's exactly duo shade, but that bottom right hand side where she's kind of being teleported out.
Yeah.
The way he does that, he cut these it's like a plastic or something that he puts on it, and it gives it that phasing look. And then I think he shot either whiteout or something like that over it. And again, it's just it's that kind of behind the scenes kind of thing that draws me to some of these pages. And you really do start to see him getting his John Byrne look, especially with her, and the way he does Zipatone. Thank you, Jim. The way he does his female character's eyes, have just been incredible over the years. To me, that's one of the defining styles of his art is how he does the eyes and robots. I mean, the guy can't be beat on robots. So, that's what drew me to this one. And again, history, it's Charlton work.
Right. Space 1999, right? I mean,
yeah, he did Space 1999. Yeah. He did Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'd want a Space 1999 page more than a Wheelie page, but that's just me. That was one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid. I mean, I loved it.
I just actually binge watched that about a year ago.
Is it still good though? Did it hold up all these years? I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
There are some episodes that, yes, and then other ones I wish I just kept in my memory.
I just have that, it's been so long, I could barely remember. I just remember like one of the final episodes, there was that like space alien that was like dragging people into it. It was like nebulously, and it was in there. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It gave me nightmares forever. And so I do want to go back and watch it because it was an impactful show. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that, they're laser pistols that ran down the knuckles. And
I had those, I mean,
I had, what is it? Eagle One or
Eagle One, right? Yeah. Eagle One.
As a kid, I had Eagle One. So
I actually filmed in a Super 8 movie. I filled up this big sandbox and made it look like it was the moon. The Eagle One, I took the end of an eraser because they like one of those ones that you put on the end of a pencil. It's shaped just like the nose on an Eagle One, and so I made my own Eagle One and made a Super 8 movie. I had books and matches I was lighting on fire to burn this thing up. So yeah, that was I loved that show.
Yep. And one more. I don't know if you remember the Emergency show as a kid. It's two ambulance guys going around, and they would,
I don't think I saw that one. But maybe
it's called Emergency. He did an Emergency for Charlton Comics also.
Man.
But Space 1999 was the one. I think I've seen some of those pages on CAF, so they're out there.
I'm gonna have to look tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So we have. I've got one more image here. Why don't we pull this one?
So this one, George Prez. If John Byrne wasn't around, George Prez would be my guy. And he's such a nice guy. I met him once at the Boston Comic Con, and as a kid, I was when I was following the Teen Titans, the Starfire saga, I guess, or storyline, kind of worked into the first annual, and it was a gorgeous annual. And I didn't get the annual, so I didn't know how the story, because I couldn't find it anywhere. And I remember my mother took me to maybe 4 or 5 drugstores to see if they had the comics. She finally took me to a book distributor that distributed the comic books, and they were about to shred the old ones. So that I finally got that, and I just remember my mom driving me all over the place to find this, and I still had it. And I went to the Boston Comic Con, and he took the time to listen to me prattle on about it. And he's like, "Get over here." He gave me a hug, because my mother's not with us anymore. And he gave me a hug. He signed the book. I have a picture up on the wall of the both of us holding that. And the thing about this page, and I honestly, if I can get a hold of George, this page is for him. He and his wife, on Facebook, he'll always say how many months they've been married. And he every once in a while tells a story about their first date, and he had the pencils to this book, and he showed it to her on the date, and this is from that book. So if he doesn't have any pages in and he wants to get an anniversary gift, I've got a gift for him.
Wow. See, every time, everyone that I know, and when George's name comes up, everyone has a wonderful story with George. He's just the nicest man on the planet, and he no one treats their fans, or treated their fans any better than him when he was going to shows. I mean, he was just always full energy and always happy. I mean, he's just a fantastic man.
I was on the other side of the table, and he's like, "Get over here." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." And I have the book hanging up on the wall right over there, with his signature, and right under the picture that it was just, so, again, if there wasn't a John Byrne, George Prez would be number one. So, 1 and 1A.
Well, I mean, you can't, deny that both of them really left, a huge impact on comics. I mean, they're the two most influential people, in the last 50 years. I don't even, let's
say 40, because it keeps us younger.
Yeah, I didn't want to say 50.
But
I look, I see you have a Galactus by George.
I do. This one I got off of eBay. It was for sale on eBay, and I'm like, come on, Galactus and George Prez, I'm taking it. Yeah. So thank you for bringing this up. He's just an excellent artist. George Perez, total class. Yes,
Yes,
yes, he is.
very much so. But no, I know I have a lot of sketches, that I picked up at shows from him. Probably a lot. I have probably 8. And yeah, I mean, he always made you feel special when you were getting one. And if you were lucky enough to get on his list at a show, you weren't going to be disappointed by anything that he was going to do for you.
Yep. I'm very happy to have that page. So
yeah, that's a good one. I'm always like looking through whoever I'm interviewing. I'm always looking at their galleries too. That's why
I'm wondering, because I'll watch you when you're interviewing something and you're kind of this way.
I try to do it when I make you full screen, but yeah, so I'm always usually looking around trying to see what else I can pull up, because it's like the Cochran piece. I mean, I had opened that up earlier and I didn't know how I was going to work that into the conversation, but I wanted to show it. So yeah, I've got my favorites too. I mean, at the end of the day,
again, back just the thought about your site. You should have one of these. Just one nightly show be a tutorial on your site, because I have my favorite artists that get called up whenever Jim posts a new Pogo, page. I always get notified, so I can look that up. I mean, that's almost as good as going to a art show and seeing it in person.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm hearing my voice through your microphone now. I don't know why.
Ooh.
Yeah, it happens.
I'll try to twist it. No,
it's all right. Yeah, that's actually better. There you go. I actually want to put together a tutorial, because again, I'm terrible at writing instructions, but my plan is to do it after I get the redesign done, because I'd hate to put together a full tutorial on the things that I think are important on CAF that people might overlook, and I'd hate to do the redesign, which isn't going to be totally crazy a redesign, but to have it then I'd have to reshoot everything. So I'm like, all right, because I've been asked to do a summary of all the premium features and all that, and it's just all right, it makes sense, and then make it into a video, because then I could just put that on CAF, and it's almost like how to use the site, but also why should you go premium? There's like I said, I'm terrible at marketing when it comes to explaining anything. I always just felt people grew up with the site, and it's just really not true. I mean, it's amazing all the collectors that I've met through doing these chats that have really just started in the hobby in the last 4 or 5 years, and so they haven't grown up with CAF at all. I can't say how many times I'll have met somebody at a show, because I'll usually help out Mike at shows, or Mark Hay from Splash Page. I work help him out a lot in San Diego, and I'll talk to somebody who's looking at art to buy, and they're saying they've been in the hobby for a couple of years, and I'm like, oh well, I run Comic Art Fans, and they look at me and they're like, what's that? So it's so I'm not the center of the universe. I know that, and it's because I've had that happen more times than I can tell you. So but that is what's fun about the hobby, is it's people come at it from so many different ways. CAF didn't start everybody in the hobby, and it didn't that have come up in the hobby in the last 10 years. It's a lot of people are still discovering it just by being at shows, and I think that's what's cool, because that's where I discovered collecting original art. Which just happened to be at a show, and I was like, wow, that's great.
You just stumble on it, and again, it's just it's how many different ways can I say? You luck into these things sometimes. I still look at Will and Albert and their what they when they show pictures of their offices and stuff, and there have stacks and stacks and stacks of this original art, and it's that's mind-blowing, that type of stuff. So when you do, at the beginning of this show, when you did what collectors have added to their site, I love watching that. That's because it's like the Cochran piece. I love his art. I love his time on X-Men, but he was never an artist that I thought of collecting. And when I stumbled upon it, it's like, yeah, that's mine. I'm taking that one. And you see that sometimes when you're the new art gets posted to your site.
Right. Oh no, I mean, I've always loved Kerry Gammel's work. I picked up a piece of his on eBay the other day that I haven't gotten it to my CAF gallery, but it's stuff like that. I love pieces that remind me, of old stories that I've read or whatnot. And, and that's what I love about the hobby. I mean, there's always going to be art out there to buy that, means something to you, and, whether you're buying it through something you see on CAF or you're doing it on eBay or it's a dealer site. I mean, there's so much of it out there that we'll never get bored buying art. That's
no,
for sure.
No. I mean, I hope they don't mind me. When we go to these comic cons,
Yep.
art cons, I'll go. Jim and Gary they'll share a room and they'll bring all their folders in, and there was a guy that would commission John to do these massive commissions with 60 characters in it.
Wow.
And all characters from the his Fantastic Four run, or all characters from the X-Men run, that type of stuff. And we'll be in the hotel room just we'll have him in, and we'll just look at every detail. Every once in a while, John will, in drawing Rubble, he'll put Barney Rubble in there. He'll put the face of Barney Rubble in, and we'll look for that if we know he had done it. But it's just you're a 50-something-year-old, 10-year-old looking at this stuff. So that's what I love about it.
Oh yeah, and it's all about sharing too. You like you're saying, you're looking at it with friends and everything, and that's what makes CAF popular, is because people do like to show it off. They like to have other people be able to look at it and talk about it, and it's an aspect to this hobby that not many other hobbies really share. The same kind of camaraderie. That's out there. I mean, there's competitiveness, and with a lot of people too.
And you can see that on Wednesday nights now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Well, we're gonna work on that a little bit, but that was Wednesday night was fun. I'm glad you watched that, because I did get a lot of feedback on that show. Everybody,
it was fun. And like you said, a tweak here and there, but I like the format, just little tweaks here and there, and the battle royale.
Well, that's what we got to figure out, how to get a counter on there so you can see how many pieces each guy has sold and what the dollar amount was, and then that'll really make it feel like a sporting event. I mean, I just wanted something different. I mean, like we were talking before the show started, it was more about just not doing a regular claim sale. I just didn't want to. If I'm going to do something fun, it's got to be fun, and I want that's something that I want to see, And so when I pictured those two together on the screen, I was like, that it's like oil and water, and I don't know which one's oil and which one's water, but I knew that they were going to have a chemistry that was going to be enjoyable one way or the other, and luckily they both agreed, to want to do it, and they were happy after it was all over. I was like, how do you guys feel? And they're like, this is great. I can't wait for next week.
Oh yeah. Now, are you going to have those two on every Wednesday, or are you going to?
Well, as a foundation for the show, yeah, absolutely. I want to start with them, but I mean, if somebody can't make it that night, I think a dealer can be interchangeable. Not everybody has the breadth of inventory that those two guys have, so that really made the decision making easy for me on who I wanted to work with for it. But yeah, I mean, why not? If maybe Anthony can't make it one night, that we bring Glenn on, for instance, and who's got more higher end stuff, and it's like we do a higher end show between Mike and Glenn, I mean, it's a format that can be mixed up. I mean, heck, you could do it on a Saturday afternoon and have a about before the main event, if you could. So I'm going to roll with it and just try to find the most ways to enjoy it and to make it fun and entertaining, because, normal claim sales, who's going to go back and watch a claim sale? And, really, I mean, like I told you, my antique store down the road does claim sales every night. But if you're not watching it live, you're never going to go back and watch it. I wanted to make something that was entertaining, that you would go back and watch you want to see what's going to happen. And that's what I think that show will, evolve into, is something that, even if you're not there to buy art, you're going to want to see what these guys have to say to each other.
And you were actually, I was looking forward to what they were digging up next. Anthony was doing the
that we're going to work on that. I'm going to tell Anthony, you got to have it all figured out, or I'm moving on to somebody else. So, or I'm going to find some filler commercial to put in place while he's, I was trying to find a cricket's chirping sound because I was playing the bell, and I'm like, I was looking through this a little online index of sound effects that I was using for that, and I was like trying to find the crickets chirping. I couldn't do it, but hopefully he isn't watching this, because I'm going to have it ready for next week, because if there's ever a lull in his presentation, or nobody's clamoring to buy his piece, I'm going to play the crickets chirping. So just be ready for it. Be ready for it. Because the expression on his face will probably be priceless when it happens.
I will. I mean, like I was telling you, I negotiated a piece that involved getting him a cup of coffee. So
right.
You never know.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. So. But yeah, no, this has been, Bill, this has been great. I'm glad you reached out to me too, because honestly, it makes it much easier for me that, because I reach out to a lot of people, but it's so much easier when somebody says, hey, if you ever need a slot filled, I'm here. So that worked out great.
And I always thought it was going to be down the road, and it's like, what are you doing this Thursday?
Right. I had a whole bunch of maybes, and that I thought were not, that I thought were solid, and things kind of changed. I had, things happen in people's lives, and I was getting, they were kind of like they were leaning more towards the can't do it, and I was like, you know what, I'd rather just have somebody I know I can have in, and I could reschedule that one. So that's why when I emailed you back, I'm like, can you do it? And then I just told the other guy, there'll be a space in March for you sometime, because I have almost all of February filled up already. So, yeah.
I love these shows. So I'm happy you're getting that kind of response.
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, everybody's been really, enjoying just getting to hear everybody else talk about their collections and how they got started, and talking about art. And so no, I'm going to keep doing these as long as everybody's willing to sit around and watch us talk. I am happy to be, leading the show. So
that's great. Well, thank you.
Nope. Thank you, Bill. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And so we got the whole weekend off, and look forward to the show that we do on Monday with the best of 2020 recap. I'll be doing it with Brian Peck, and anybody who wants to pour whatever their favorite drink is, we'll do a little toast for CAF's 18th birthday on Monday, February 1st. Yep. Exactly. All right. So have a good night, everybody. Bill, thank you so much.